Welcome guys. In our previous video we learned about easing, the different types of easing, and how to ease down our animation. Okay, in today's video we are going to be going along that line, but we are going to be creating a simple animation. Okay, and we are going to focus down on how to slow down and speed up our animation. Okay, and the thing is that animation surrounds around time. Okay, everything that has to do with animation is about time. The time this begins, the time this will end, it has to do with time. It has to do with time. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to speed up and how to slow down your animation. Okay, and at the end of this video, trust me, your animation is going to become better. So let us begin.
In the previous video, I taught you about easing, how to make your animation smooth. On this video, we are going to apply all what we've learned from phase 1 of this course. Even in phase 2, we are going to join everything together and we're going to make a simple animation. Alright, and I'm just going to show you what we are working on. So here it is. I want you to watch it again so you try to see what we did. And all the assets I used for this animation is in our course folder. Okay, is in our course folder. From the Google logo to the font I use is in our course folder. So if you want to be precise on what you're doing, it's better you check for a course folder. You get the exact Google logo we are using and the exact font we are using for this animation. Okay, it looks so complex, right? But it is not. It is within what we've learned so far. So I believe you will grasp very soon. Okay, so we are going to start out a new composition. That's the first thing to do. Start a new composition, set it to white. Okay, set it to white. So we'll likely have our logo. Okay, likely have our logo. I think it's right here. Okay, asset folder. So we have our logo. I'm going to fix it in, and you could probably guess what we're going to do. We're going to reduce the scale. Okay, reduce the scale. And next we have circles. Okay, you can just play it again so we are sure of what we are doing. Okay, we have about 3 circles there, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we have 4 circles: green, yellow, blue, and red. Okay, then we have the Google write-up. Okay, one thing you should note that this Google write-up is a text. Okay, that's the text. Then this is the logo. All right, and one thing we want to do is add our text. Okay, I believe it's white color, so you have to change it. Let's try to get that particular gray. I believe this should be it. So we want to change our font. Name of the font is Product Sans. Okay, Product Sans. So GLE. Right. So the first thing you do before any animation is to plan out what you want to achieve. Okay, plan out what you want to achieve. Okay, that's why it's called motion graphics. You want to plan out what you want to achieve. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is what I want to achieve. So I've got to have it planned out. You want to make sure it's at the middle. That's why I will not mind if you bring out your rulers. Okay, I will not mind. So this is our end point. Okay, you have to visualize the endpoint because that is what will determine your animation. Okay, so now we can make this invisible and we can focus on this. Okay, so I can bring out my ruler to just be sure where my middle point is. Okay, so we have it here, so okay, this is like our middle point. Okay, so what we do next is that we have to bring in our circles. Let's bring in our circles. Okay, what you should notice is that our circles have no fill. Okay, and one way you can do that is by clicking on this fill itself, not the fill color, right? This fill itself, the fill options. Okay, then you can click on cancel. If you've worked with Photoshop, you should be familiar with this. You can click on none. Okay, then it's going to remove the fill. Then what you want to do is to add a color. So let's just start with the red. So what I'm doing is that I'm picking colors from the logo. Okay, so I'll just likely carry the color picker and just put it here. So pick the particular red that is there. So another thing you can do is to increase the stroke. Okay, increase the stroke. So we have our first circle here. We can name it okay, let's just say red. Let's name it red. Like I said, you want to properly name your layer so you don't get confused at the end of the day. Okay, so you have it there, and we want to duplicate. Okay, what I just do is Ctrl C and I press Ctrl V. Okay, for Mac users, Command C, Command V. We have our 4 circles, so you want to rename them. Let's increase the scale. And something we always make sure of is make sure the anchor point is at the middle. If not, your animation will not be smooth. Okay, so let's make sure. I think we should do that with the first one. Let's do it with the first one so it can affect the rest. Okay, so let's make sure it is at the middle. Make sure it's at the middle. Our component is at the middle. I think it is okay now. Okay, so we can move it back here and here. Okay, so that's it. So let's work on our scale. No, before then, let's just duplicate this circle. So I'll just Command C, Command V. Like I said, Windows users, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So let's start renaming this. So let me rename one green. What's the next color? We also have yellow. We also have what? We also have blue. And one thing you should notice about this animation is that all the circles are not the same width. All right, the weight of the strokes are not the same. Okay, find out that the yellow is the smallest amongst all. All right, the blue is the biggest. So you have to work with the same thing. Let's check for the green. I think the green is about the same with the blue. So green and blue the same, red the biggest. Okay, I think red and blue the same. Okay, red and blue the same. So let's work on it. You see the way I'm switching tabs. Okay, I can switch tabs. This is our original composition. All right, this is the one we are using to mimic that, so I can easily switch tabs to make my workflow easy rather than going to the project panel to open it again. Okay, so we said yellow is the smallest, so let's work on it. Okay, so scale, I'll reduce the scale down, so let's change it to yellow. So like I said, I'm picking from these colors that reduce the weight of the stroke. Okay, let's just set it to 4. So you see that it's small now. So the blue is about the same, so I'll just pick the color for the blue. All right, and I'll just try to increase it a bit, scale. Okay, so what we have left now is our green. Okay, is our green. But I'm not going to put that yet. I'm not going to put that yet. Reason because I want to copy the animation of the blue for the green. So I've not added animation for the blue. So I'm not going to add the green yet. Okay. If you notice the green and the green and the red, all right, the green and the red, they moved the same way. So rather than us doing it again afresh for the green, we can just copy the animation. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go back to the composition. Okay, so we have it here, so we can start our animation. You can see that we worked with scale and opacity. So what we want to do first is that at the beginning we do not want any of these circles to be visible. I just took out my green. Okay, like I said, we're going to mimic one of our circles, maybe the blue or the red, okay, to get the motion for the green. So the first thing is that all of them has to be invisible first. Okay, so what we want to do that is to adjust their opacity, and I can apply the level of opacity to all of them at the same time. I can apply at the same time. So what I do, I just select all of them to save time. Okay, and I select the opacity. You just see that if I select one of them, it will be so for the rest of them. Okay, so you can see it's the same for this, the same for our red. So you can already see. So, and why am I doing it like that? Is because it's the same thing. But if I'm to apply different things or different properties, I can't do all at once. Okay, so once you notice is that they are all gone. They are all gone. Okay, they are all gone. So they become invisible. So at what point do I want it to appear? At what point? So we are going to discover that point when we see our original timeline. Okay, this is 9 seconds too. So at what point did it become visible? Okay, it became visible at okay, let's say 2 seconds. There about 2 seconds. So we can work on this. We can make it visible at 2 seconds. Okay, let's make it visible at 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Okay, and if there is another thing you have to note again, is that they became visible, then they went back to being invisible. Okay, so how can we achieve that? So let's just share it into two sides. Okay, they can become visible at point 1. Okay, they can become visible at point 1. Let's make our layers invisible. I think I Ctrl Z and I reset the opacity, so I'm taking it back to 0. So at this first point we don't want to be visible. At point 1 we want it to be visible. Then at point 2, okay, at point 1 we want to be invisible. At point 2, which is 1 second, we want it to be visible. Okay, then at point 3, which is the 2 seconds, we want it to be invisible. So let's just play so you see what I did. So it becomes visible, then becomes invisible. Okay, so now it's time to play with the scales. Okay, let's play with the scales. So we don't want all of them to have the same scale first. So let's work on our yellow. Okay, at this point we want the scale to increase. Okay, and at this point we want it to go back. Okay, it's just like we want all the properties we set to reset themselves when they get to 2 seconds. Okay, so we are taking it back. So just watch what happens to it. If you've seen, okay, so it looks as if it's bouncing. Okay, it's bouncing to and fro. Then we can set the next one, blue. So we want the scale to be super small. Okay, you don't want to apply the same property to all, especially the scale, so that it looks interesting. Okay, so we want to apply. So while your yellow is there, you can just end this here. Okay, then we'll take it back. Then here we can just take it back a bit. Okay, so just watch what happens. Okay, no, I think they are too close. They are too close. They are too close. Okay, it's okay now. So let's set our red. If there's need for any adjustment, we are going to do it. Okay, we are going to do it. So let's set our red. Let's start the scale. Let's make this at the highest point. Okay. Okay. This one we can just adjust the opacity a bit. Okay. Okay. So now we can set our green. We can set our green circle. Okay. So what we can just do is to let's just use the yellow for the green. Okay, let's use the yellow for the green. So we can rename it now. And remember why we did that? It's just so we can just leverage the fact that we've done an animation on the yellow before. Okay, so we can just make this the green. So what we want to do next is to set this green to this color green. Okay, I think we're having okay, we are setting for the fill, not the stroke. So let's change it back to the stroke. So here it is. Here it is. Okay, so what we want to do is that we want to adjust. You can see that the animation has been copied, the same thing we have for our yellow. So that is one of the benefits of doing that. Okay, so let's just shift it. Let's shift it. Let's shift it a bit. Let's shift it a bit. Do you see our green at all? Okay. 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 I believe we've got something. Okay. So what we want to do now is to make our Google logo follow through. Okay, so we have our yellow. So let's try to reduce the Google logo at almost 0.0. Okay, so the same thing, it has to be invisible at first. Okay, so this is our layer for our Google logo. Okay, so we just set the scale to just reduce it a bit and set the opacity to 0 at this point. Okay, and at point 1 the same thing, we want it to get to be invisible. Then at point 2 we want it to reduce. Okay, so let's just make it okay, something like this. Okay, so let's just watch what happens. Let's watch what happens. Okay, I think it is too slow. The first part is too slow. Still too slow for my liking. Okay, I think it's becoming more interesting. Okay, let's check our other shapes. Okay, so we have our goggle in place. You can see it looks as if it's bouncing back, so that is makes it very interesting. Like you see, we are not adding any kind of easing. Okay, it depends on the concept you want. Okay, but you can try out easing on yours. Okay, but for this concept we are not using easing. It all depends on your concept. It all depends on your concept. Okay, so that's for that. And we have a second part. Don't forget, we are not done. We are not done. We are not done. We have the second part where the logo shifted to the side and where the logo moved to the left. Okay, where it arranged itself to form the word goggle. Okay, so let's do it. So we have to get to a point where the animation is stable. Okay, so I believe this point, at this point, it can start moving. So we'll get back to our goal. So you see that we just done with the whole circle thing, and we shouldn't allow it to the blue to completely vanish before we start, so it has an effect. Okay, so we start moving it. So how do we move this to the left? We use position. Okay, take it from here to here. Okay, so we can move it here, and meanwhile let's get our ogle out so we know the exact position we are using. Okay, you see we've gone too far. I don't think that is at the middle, so let's shift this a bit so we know the exact point we are taking. So it means we have to undo. So let's bring out our ogle first. Okay, I believe it should be there. So we are going to move this again. We are going to move it again because we want it to be at the middle. So my position is already active. The keyframe is already active, as you can see. So it's just looking for another one to complete it. So we can shift it here so it forms the word goggle. Okay, so here it is. And something that happened here again, let's check it out again. You see what happened. Our ogle was moving still from the middle point. Okay, so we have to fix that. You can see that it is less visible, and gradually it becomes more visible till it gets to that exact point. So the same thing is what we want to apply. Okay, so what do we do? You can see that at the point this is shifting, it is also shifting. All right, animation is all about timing. So let's check for the point we want to shift it. So what we want to do, like, we have to drop this down, okay, because we are working on it. I'll drop it down. So what point are we moving? So our G is here. So the first thing is that we don't want it to be visible at first. So and okay, so that's it. And you want to shift the position too. I think the position has not been shifted, so let's just shift it to this side so it looks as if it's coming from that side, so it does not take that final position at first. All right, it's moving towards that final position, so we'll have to start it with that position. Okay, so we'll start our keyframe opacity. So we move. So when this is stable, it has to be stable as soon as this is stable. Okay, so we move it here and we increase the opacity so it can be visible. Okay, so we can see adjust this. I think it's too close to our goggle. It's too close to it. We can still adjust it. Okay, you can still adjust it. I believe it's okay now. Oh, we made a mistake. Okay, it's not yet stable. Okay, so let's bring it. So I believe this is the point where it is stable. Okay, so what we want to do is that we want to shift it. Okay, so let's apply our position. Let's apply our opacity first so we see what we are doing, and we can shift it down here. Perfect. So let's just play what we've done. You can see that it's not so complex after all. You can see that it's not so complex after all. Quite interesting, quite interesting, quite interesting. I want to fix some things. I think our blue should, or our red should go out. This is for the scale. Okay. Okay, I'll just reduce this. I want our red to leave the scene as quick as possible. Okay, I want our red to leave the scene as quick as possible. So let's just check it again. So animation, you just have to be creative. All right, depends on what you want. You just have to be creative. So let's see if it becomes better. Is it better than before? Okay, let's adjust the green and the yellow. Okay, the green and the yellow, because they are taking the same kind of animation, because we duplicated green to have our blue. So I want the yellow to still extend. I want it to still extend. Okay, at this point I want it to still extend, so I'll likely increase it, increase the scale. No, this is our green. I want it for our yellow. Okay, scale, I want it to still extend. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so I believe it's okay. Okay, I believe this is perfect. It's perfect now. And if there's something you want to notice in our original composition, if there's something you will notice, is that we applied easing to this movement. I hope you notice that we applied easing. You can see we applied easing, the way the go-go moved. So we are also going to apply easing here. So what are we applying easing to? This go-go part. Okay, so first of all, let's highlight the first two. We're applying easing to the position first. Like what I said, you move to the graph editor. Okay, and you highlight it. Let's apply our easy ease. Okay, like what I would do, I would adjust it. I'm just zooming in. Okay, I want to adjust it to be more sharp. Okay, I just move these 2 points closer to each other, and that will be achieved. Okay, so the same thing, I'm doing the same thing for our opacity. All right, so opacity doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to apply it. Okay, I'm just going to apply it. So we have that done. So let's have the same thing done here for our Google logo. Okay, so I'll just zoom out so I see what I am doing. So you see our Google logo, we've applied some things before, but we are not working on this. Okay, we are only working on the position. So take note, you don't want to apply easing to an area that you are not currently working on. Okay, so this is the two position. All right, if you trace it down the timeline, you notice that is on the position track. Okay, so this is what we do. We have it here. So what we want to do is to click our graph editor, then we highlight the 2 points, then we add our easing, and also want to do the same thing, shift these 2 points closer to each other. So let's see what we have. So I'm closing everything and I'm starting again. Okay, you see, so this is it. Though ours is a bit faster, so let's see if we can adjust it. And make it slower. So that's simple. That's not very difficult. I'll just highlight the two last position, the last position and the last opacity. I'll highlight both of them and I'll shift them to increase their time. Okay, and I want to do the same for my I can just shift my goggle also, okay, because I'm working on the same thing. Okay, so let's redo. So to redo, you just press Shift Command Z. All right, Windows, you press Shift Control Y. Okay, so we have it here. So what we want to do, we want to extend this to, I'm highlighting both of this, and if I hold my shift, I can highlight this too. So I'm shifting it so it can be slower. Okay, so I believe this should do. So let's see. Okay, I think it's perfect. Okay, let's just wash it. So we have our circles and we have our Google. So you see, yeah, it is. That's a simple animation, and I believe you've worked on yours already. This is very smooth and very beautiful, very simple and very beautiful.
So, guys, how was today's lesson? I knew you enjoyed it. We are going to be moving on, and we are getting somewhere actually, and your hands are beginning to mature, I believe. So, on our next video, we're going to be treating something also important. We're going to be treating fill and stroke in After Effects. I know those persons that are already into design will be familiar with these terms, but don't worry, in the next video, we'll get to know what we're talking about. See you in our next video.